I'm strong. I'm strong. Strong.
All right, guys, we are back. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy CMB checking in. And guys, I'm sitting here looking at this post on ESPN Knockouts. Very interesting post. And they're talking about Ryan Garcia's next potential opponent, who he may be. Now get this. We're not talking Rolando Rolly Romero. You guys know that's been the talk. The rematch between the two, where Ryan was outboxed by Rolly on the Fatal Fury card. Just a shock to a lot of people out there, including myself. Oscar De La Hoya came out and said that that's a fight that he doesn't really want to entertain. He thinks that fight wasn't very, he doesn't think that was an exciting fight. You know, he didn't think that fight delivered. But in all honesty, I think that Oscar knows that that's a very risky fight for Ryan Garcia. You know, he's not going to come out and say it because Ryan's his fighter, but I think he views Rolly as a clear threat. So he just knows Ryan's not ready for that yet. Now, we've seen Ryan chasing the Manny Pacquiao fight, of course, as of late. He talked about that being a lucrative fight for him and Manny, and it could be, but in all honesty, is Ryan ready for a fighter on the level of a Manny Pacquiao? I think not. If he's not ready for a guy like Rolly, he's definitely not ready for a Hall of Famer like Manny Pacquiao, who put him on a great performance with Mario Barrios. He didn't get the win, but he proved that he still has that fire in his belly. Now, ESPN Knockouts is saying that his potential next opponent could be Isaac Pitbull Cruz, who right now he's the WBA 140-pound interim champion. Now, in all honesty, I don't think that fight makes a whole lot of sense, being that Ryan is a fighter at 147, being that Ryan has trouble making 140. I just, I don't know if this has any legs, to be honest with you guys. Now, they could fight at a catch weight. Now, let's just say they fight at a catch weight, and let's just say Ryan wins the fight. He's the interim champion at 140, but, if he defends that title, he's going to have to keep making 140, in my opinion. So I just think that's going backwards, in my opinion. And it's a winnable fight. I think Ryan could actually beat Pitbull Cruz. I think Pitbull Cruz, I don't want to, no shade to him, but he's not a very good boxer. He's a pressure fighter. He throws a lot of punches, but there's not much technique there. Now, if Ryan was disciplined, Ryan has talent. He just doesn't stay focused, in my opinion. He's not very disciplined. But if he did stay disciplined, yeah, I think that's a fight he could easily win. And that fight would make a lot of sense only if it was at 147 pounds. Now, my opinion, who I think Ryan should fight next, is a name that you don't hear a whole lot about, but he fights at 147, and he's a solid fighter. And that's Blair the Flair Cobbs. He's been looking for a fight. I think I've heard him talking about wanting to fight Ryan Garcia. And the last time we saw him in the ring was with Adrian the Problem Broner, and he beat Broner. And that's been a little bit over a year now. Before that, he fought Maurice Hooker. He won that fight. And I think the fight before that was with Alexis Rocha, and I think he lost that fight. So I think in the last 4 years, he's fought a grand total of about 3 times. So he's not been very active. He's still kind of green. He's 17-1. Some people know who he is. I mean, he's not a huge name, but I think this is a good fight, solid fight for Ryan at 147 to really test the waters. To really, if he's disciplined, if he gets back to training and, keeping his head on straight and not being distracted by, all the bullshit out here and trying to be a social media star, it could be a winnable fight for him. It could be a winnable fight for him. Like I said, he's very talented. He's just not focused, in my opinion. And I really don't like the guy, But like I said, I know how to separate how I feel about a guy and how I, him as a fighter. I think he's a talented fighter. He's just a fighter that just lacks discipline, in my opinion. But we'll see if this Pitbull Cruz thing has any legs. Honestly, I don't think so. And I really don't want to see Ryan go backwards. I'd rather see him go forward. There's a lot of great fights to be made at 147. But, he's got to get his head on straight first. But we'll see. Guys, I'm on vacation. Some of you guys may know that. On my last video, I said I was leaving the country. I'm actually in Puerto Vallarta right now, and this view that I'm looking at is absolutely amazing, guys. So maybe I'll add it on to the end video here if I get a chance. But you guys let me know what you think about Ryan Garcia and this Pitbull Cruz rumor. Do you think there's anything to it? If not, who would you rather see Ryan fight next? You guys let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.